Farm Bureau. If you have been watching the NCAA men's basketball tournament, you know that Florida Atlantic is quite the story. And if you've really been paying attention, you know that one of the stars on this FAU team is Alijah Martin, who is from Summit, Mississippi. And for the year, he's averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, 1.5 assists per game while scoring 43%. What you may not know is that he played at North Pike High School. Terrell Anderson is an assistant principal at North Pike. He was Alijah Martin's head basketball coach. And so, Coach Anderson, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this afternoon. What a fun ride this has been watching FAU in the tournament.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it's been awesome. And like I told him the other day when I spoke with him on the phone, I'm just glad that I've been able to, come along for this ride because, we already knew he had it in him. But, man, this is amazing.
All right, so take me back to Alijah Martin as a high school player. What did you see in terms of career trajectory, growth from him as a player from kind of going junior high up through his senior season?
Well, man, when I took over, honestly, his junior year, I didn't know anything about Alijah Martin. I was told by one particular person that became Coach Joe Taylor, he was my assistant coach, that, man, we had this kid that could be really good if we just get him out there and get him to working hard. And, man, once his junior year hit, he ended up averaging about 30 points a game for us with 11 rebounds, and we knew we had something special on our hands. And he pretty much took it from there and became a dandy dozen his senior year, played in the Mississippi-Alabama game. He was the MVP of that, and we knew then that his ceiling for us in basketball wasn't even scratched yet. He played football also, and a lot of people wanted him to play football, of course, because he was a star quarterback for North Pike High School. But, man, when you see him go to work on that court, we just knew he had something special in him. And when he came and asked me and he decided to go with FAU, he had between FAU and Tulane and USM. And it's kind of ironic because even Memphis kind of threw their name in there at the last moment. But he decided to go to FAU, and he's been loving it ever since. And like I told Coach Todd and Coach Dusty May, I was like, look, he hadn't even just focused on one sport yet. And I don't know how he'll be once he focused on one sport. And, man, they call me all the time, just tell me they so glad that they was able to get him. And he's just an amazing kid on and off the court.
I was going to ask you about your role in his recruiting process because we know it works differently for different players. For some, maybe a recruiting effort is handled by the kid themselves. For some, it's a parent or a family member. For some, it's an AAU coach. For some, it's a high school coach and, kind of in an advisory role. So what do you remember about that process as he was trying to decide where he was going to go to school?
Well, his mom, Tina Martin, and Elijah, they came to me quite often, just asked for my opinion on everything because he highly respected me, so my opinion mattered to him. And people don't know this, he actually committed to McNeese State because he was like, I'm going to go to McNeese, they're going to let me play the way I want to play, Coach. And then, Coach Todd and Coach Dusty called me at the last minute, and I kind of opened that door back up, and I said, hey, what you think about FAU, man? They on the beach. They call themselves the Beach Boys. They on the beach. I mean, it's a nice area. And so they talked to him, talked to me, talked to his mom, and he was pretty much sold. And they told him they were going to build a team pretty much around him, him and Golden. So, and he was sold. And he just liked how they came, they approached him, how they took me in, took his mom in, and his whole family. So, and he just fell in love with FAU, and he's a loyal kid, so he stuck with him, even when he did have chances to transfer, but he decided to stay there.
Visiting with Terrell Anderson, he's an assistant principal at North Pike High School, Summit, Mississippi. That's where Alijah Martin is from, or at least that's where he was born in that part of the state of Mississippi, and he is now headed to the Final Four. You've been saying Coach Todd, that's Todd Abernathy, who's an assistant coach, of course, played at Ole Miss, and Dusty May. As a now former basketball coach, when you watch the style that FAU plays, what stands out for you?
He has freedom. They actually play the same way we played when I was coaching North Pike when I had Elijah. I didn't tie him down. I told him he was a pit bull, and I was going to let him off the leash and let him loose. And that's when when he has the freedom to be, because his basketball IQ is high. When he has the freedom to be able to play the way he wants to play, it's just awesome. He's unstoppable. And like I said, he played within the system. We ran plays at certain times. We did what we need to do. And he fell in love with it and realized FAU kind of was similar to the way that we ran our offense and the way we did things at North Pike. So that was one of the big things, another big thing that kind of sold him on it.
So, Coach, when you look at the games that they've played in the NCAA tournament, first against Memphis, didn't have a great shooting night, but he was in double figures. 14 points against FDU, but over the last two games, really efficient in terms of shooting the ball. 9 points on 3 of 6 against Tennessee, but then against Kansas State. He's coming off a 6 of 11 performance. He hits 3 threes. He goes for 17. Is the Kansas State game the one that stands out for you in terms of what Elijah's done in the tournament?
Yes, I like the Kansas State game, and I like the Tennessee game because he doesn't back down. You know, you look at Tennessee, man, they were huge, and that's something he talked to me about. He was like, Coach, you know, they big, this, and that. I just told him, we kind of, agreed, like, at the end of the day, you got to get on the court and play the game no matter how big you are. So, and he has the don't back, never back down attitude, so we knew he wasn't going to back down from any other guys. But the Kansas State game, man, it's – look, I'm just amazed. I'm going to tell you, I'm so excited for him. And every time we speak and talk and text, he can tell. I tell him I'm proud of him. But that Kansas State game, he just hit some big clutch shots. And, man, when he dunked on that kid at the beginning of the game, I knew then. I said, uh-oh, they in trouble.
It's been a heck of a run. We were talking about this yesterday. When you get in the NCAA tournament, if you're going to get to the Final Four, and I don't care whether we're talking about FAU or North Carolina, you got to have some good fortune, right? You got to have some bounces go your way. They survive with the close win against Memphis, and then they get a 16 seed. I mean, instead of playing Purdue trying to get to the Sweet 16, they're playing Fairleigh Dickinson. They don't have to apologize to anybody for that, but it's a heck of a piece of fortune, and now you look up, and they're into the third weekend of the tournament.
Exactly. And I told him, I said, look, you got to play who's in front of you. At the end of the day, for FDU, their goal was to beat you all, but you all beat them. So you got to play who's in front of you, and you got to take each game one game at a time. You know, don't look ahead, one game at a time. So, and that's what he said they're doing. They focusing on one team, one opponent, one game at a time, and that's how they've been able to capitalize. Definitely the game against Memphis, man, he had some nice tip-ins toward that. That was a huge tip-in he had with about a minute left, 50 seconds left. He didn't have a great shooting night, but he still did a lot of other things that I told him I was proud of. You know, playing defense, grabbing rebounds, running the floor, doing everything, all those intangibles. So they had to have the ball to bounce their way at times. But hey, you need that. I think you need a little luck to make a long run in this tournament.
There's no question about it. Any chance you're making a road trip to Houston, Texas this weekend?
I'm going out there to Houston, but I'm not going to the game. I told Elijah about me playing ball all the years I played and coaching. I'm very superstitious. His mom wanted me to come to New York. I didn't go because I was like, you know what? They've been winning. I said, if they make it to the Elite Eight, I guess I'd try to come to the game. They made it to the Elite Eight. I said, you know what? I didn't go to the game. I've been yelling at the TV. So I think I'm going to continue yelling at the TV, even in the hotel room in Houston. I am going to go where I can visit with them, hopefully after the win Saturday. But I don't plan on stepping foot in the arena because I want them to win so bad. And even when I talked, I told him, I said, man, much as I want to be there for you and see, I'm nervous about it. If I step in there in that gym, I'm a jinx it.
I appreciate the superstition, but I mean, we're talking about the Final Four. You can't go to Houston but not go inside the building. You can't do that.
I know it, man, and my wife is on me too, so ain't no telling where they make it to the championship game. I'm pretty sure I'd be in there.
Well, it's an incredible story. I know Elijah's a great young man, and you played a big role in his life. Hey, can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this afternoon to talk about your relationship with him and what a cool journey this has been.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you for having me on.
All right. Have a great afternoon. That's Terrell Anderson, assistant principal now at North Pike High School. He was Alijah Martin's head coach at North Pike in Summit, Mississippi. Can you believe that? He's going to Houston for the Final Four, but he said, because of as much basketball as I've played and coached, I'm superstitious, and I'm not going to the game.
You have to respect that.
I mean,
that's a man that's locked in. He's locked in.
Yeah, I guess I feel like that's doing your part. You know, you can't dribble it, you can't shoot it, you can't coach it, but everybody's got to do their part. What a fun conversation.